Alright, radio check, radio check. You guys should be able to hear me. We are now live. We have got 30 minutes to go to the start of the Belgian Grand Prix. We have got so much action in store for us today. Max Verstappen starting in 11th position, Charles Leclerc starting from first place, Perez in second, and the McLarens will be looking to get up to the top as well. We have a very, very sunny day here in Spa. Track temperatures up at 42 degrees Celsius, air temperature at 21 degrees. No sight of rain today. The forecast says there's a 4 to 5% chance of rain throughout the race. So I don't think we're going to see any rain, but we will certainly have a lot of action, and I can guarantee you that, folks. If you haven't hit the like button, be sure to do so. It really does help out the channel, especially at the start of the stream. And yeah, we've already got 700 people watching, so let's dive right into this. The strategy for today, although the drivers will only be doing 44 laps of this circuit, we will be having a two-stop strategy. The tyre wear around the circuit is extremely high. Pirelli have gone one step softer than they normally do. Normally we do have the hardest tyres at the Spa-Francorchamps circuit, but this weekend round we do have the middle set of Pirelli tyres, and they're not as obviously not as durable because they are a step softer than last year. And we will be having a two-stop race. The drivers will probably start the race on the mediums and then go on to the hards for their second stint, and also the hards for the third stint. That is the quickest strategy according to Pirelli, but a couple of drivers cannot do that. Namely, Max Verstappen cannot do the quickest strategy by Pirelli, because Verstappen only has one set of hard tyre. He doesn't have two sets, so he cannot do two stints, which is going to be a bit of a problem. So we'll see how he deals with that. But he'll start the race probably on the mediums, and then go long on his middle stint on the hard tyres, and then do another stint on the mediums at the end. Hi F1 Gamer, hi guys. Very excited for the race, considering as Ferrari and Mercedes starting on the podium. Indeed. In fact, if you cast your minds back 12 months ago, Charles Leclerc, Sergio Perez, Lewis Hamilton, that was the top three last year as well on the starting grid. Max Verstappen once again had a grid penalty last year, and yeah, the top three are the same as it was last year. We'll see what Charles Leclerc can do off the start, but Sergio Perez ended up leading a couple of laps in last year's Grand Prix. And yeah, I mean, this is the highest Sergio Perez has started since his last podium in China, so this bodes well for Sergio Perez. The last time he started in second place or higher was China, and he could go on and potentially score a podium today. He definitely is going to need to score a podium if he wants to keep his seat, but we'll wait and see. Okay. Of course, going into turn number one, it will be, well, it's not a very long run into turn number one. There's no sort of opportunities for slipstreaming past your opponents, but if you do get a better launch off the start, then you will be certainly darting down the inside into La Source and hopefully trying to get a good entry and good exit going down towards the Camel Straight. F1 Gamer, do you think Charles will be able to defend against Checo? So far, I think he'll be able to do it, most likely a Merc and Ferrari fighting. Well, I don't know really, because it looked like Charles yesterday did have a bit of a wet setup. I think Ferrari went on a bit of a gamble and put Charles Leclerc on a wet setup, so I think he'll have slightly lower top speed in today's Grand Prix compared to Sergio Perez, and hence that might make it quite easy for Perez to get past. We'll have to wait and see, but I do have a feeling Ferrari have opted for a wet setup. The Ferraris weren't that quick all weekend long, and then suddenly Leclerc pulled out a spectacular lap, I must say, but I think he also did that spectacular lap with the assistance of a wet setup rather than a dry setup. Okay, what else have we got going on? All the drivers have made their way to the grid. That's why they're all up on the screen there. You've got, of course, Perez and Leclerc. Leclerc being pushed towards the front of the grid now, as he's just parked up at the back. We've got 1,300 people tuned in already. Folks, if you are enjoying, be sure to hit the like button. Definitely does help out the channel. Yeah, alright, let's carry on going through what are the strategy options. It looks like the drivers lose 18 to 20 seconds in the pit lane when they do a pit stop under green flag conditions, if they do a pit stop under safety car or virtual safety car conditions, they only lose 11 to 13 seconds. So that's a saving around about 7 seconds there pitting under the safety car. And the stats for a safety car are 88%. In the previous 7 years, we have had 88% chance of a safety car, which is brilliant because it obviously makes the racing a lot more exciting. The chance of a virtual safety car 13%, and the chance of a red flag 38%. So yeah, red flag chances are pretty high, but I think those were in wet conditions, and that obviously takes into account Spa 2021. Yeah, it is not raining. It is totally sunny in Spa today. Yeah, very much sunshine. Track temperature is 42 degrees, so tyre wear is actually going to be a bit of a concern. The tyre deg at the circuit is very, very high. So we'll wait and see. There's a 20% chance of rain, but that probably is more like 4 to 5%. Not really a very high chance of rain today. If we look at the race pace simulations, Red Bull do look to have the slight edge over the McLaren team. It looked like that in FP1 as well. McLaren did start out with quicker race pace, but their race pace degraded a lot quicker than the Red Bulls, and that was because McLaren's tyres were degrading a lot more than the Red Bull's tyres were degrading. So yeah, essentially, what they are going to do is, Red Bull seem to have a bit more of a higher downforce setup, so they don't get too much sliding with their tyres, and hence a lot less tyre wear. We'll wait and see, though, because Max Verstappen will have to dial back the downforce a little bit, so he can actually slipstream past a couple of drivers and make some overtakes down the Camel Straight. Another thing to take into account will be that Max Verstappen has actually replaced, not Max Verstappen himself, the Red Bull team have replaced the skid plate at the bottom of Max Verstappen's car. If you guys remember, the skid plate is what Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc got disqualified for in the USA Grand Prix last year. They had too much wear on their skid plate from the car bouncing about on the curbs, and because of that they got disqualified from the race. So what they've done to Max Verstappen's car, they've replaced the skid block to minimize any sort of wear and tear that has already been done in the practice sessions, and so Verstappen can drive around at full speed. Last year what we saw, the drivers were actually lifting going through Eau Rouge and Raidillon because that bit of the circuit causes a lot of compression onto the suspension and causes the skid block to wear out a lot quicker. So teams will be we'll see if the drivers are lifting. They were lifting last year to minimize the wear on the skid block, but yeah, don't know. Good morning, folks. Good morning. Which country am I from? Well, the UK, yeah. Okay. What else have we got to talk about? Well, of course, the Spa-Francorchamps circuit. It is 7 kilometers long, the longest circuit on the Formula 1 calendar. It's also got the most elevation change on the Formula 1 calendar, Eau Rouge and Raidillon being the biggest elevation change on in the year. And it's a fantastic circuit. We have 2 DRS zones, one down the main straight and one down the Camel Straight after Eau Rouge and Raidillon, after turn number 4 towards turn number 5 and 6. Let me know what your predictions are, folks. Let me, we'll see what will happen. But Max Verstappen starting in 11th position. Will he get up onto the podium? Will he get up to go get the win? Will he be stuck behind the McLarens in 4th and 5th position? What do you think will happen? It's going to be very, very exciting. Alright, folks, thank you everyone for tuning in. If you are enjoying the coverage, be sure to hit the like button, and let's get underway very, very shortly for this Grand Prix. Right. I'm just going to continue going through a couple of the strategy things. Ferrari and Mercedes look identical on race pace, so it'll be interesting to see how Leclerc battles against Hamilton and what Russell does against Sainz. Maybe Perez will get the start and get a good start and get ahead of Leclerc. Maybe he won't. Well, I still have to wait and see what Leclerc can do off the race start. He did lose it last year, but I'm sure he'll learn from his mistakes and potentially do a bit better this year. All right. What else have we got to do? Oh yes, the alternate strategy by Pirelli is to start the race on the softs and then do 2 stints on the mediums. That would probably only work when track temperature is a little bit lower. Today, 42 degrees. The tyre wear is going to be fairly high and the tyres probably will be overheating a bit. So the soft, medium strategy is not optimal. And yeah. Is there any rain forecast? There is no rain forecast for today, folks. It is not looking that, it doesn't look like it'll be raining, but you never know at Spa. The joke goes, you can check the weather every 10 minutes and you'll get something different at Spa-Francorchamps. It is so unpredictable. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. Okie dokes. Do you think Max will overtake Checo? Ooh, that is a tough question to answer. It really depends. I think if Max is able to overtake everyone, that I don't think he will actually. I think if Perez can get ahead of Leclerc at the start of the race, then Max probably won't have any chance to sort of catch all the way up to get round to overtaking Sergio Perez. Maybe Perez will take the win, maybe not. Maybe they'll swap positions. But yeah, I think Sergio Perez stands a good chance of not being overtaken by his teammate today, given that he is starting so much further ahead of him. And there are very quick drivers between him, because you've got to remember, last year Max Verstappen also did have a grid penalty and he made his way through the pack to win the race. But the difference was that last year there weren't as many competitive cars, whereas this year the Ferraris, the Mercedes, the McLarens are all super competitive, and that's going to make the overtaking much harder for Max Verstappen, and the progress through the field probably will be a lot slower than we expect, but you never know. Max Verstappen put a sensational lap together in qualifying. Throughout all of the qualifying sessions, he was quicker by a comfortable margin. So maybe come today in race day, he's going to blast past everyone, and we'll have no idea where that pace has come from. Yeah. Right. I am going to take a quick sip of water, folks, but we'll be getting underway for some racing in 20 minutes' time. We've got a couple more things to talk about, like Esteban Ocon moving to Haas for next year, and of course, what is going to happen to Sergio Perez. Will he keep his seat? I think he's done just enough this weekend to keep his seat. Red Bull, if he had another crash and ended up in 20th position, maybe Red Bull would consider firing him, but I think he's done enough, at least for now, to just hang in there by his fingernails. Alright, folks, there is something that I do have to tell you. For any of the Mercedes fans out there, it looks like as George Russell or Lewis Hamilton, I cannot be sure which driver it was, but as one of the drivers were coming out of the pit lane, there was water or some sort of fluid coming out the rear of the Mercedes car. So we saw George Russell at Silverstone DNF due to a water leak. It looked very similar to water coming out of one of the Mercedes cars as they exited the pit lane on their lap to the grid. So we may have some sort of issue with the Mercedes cars today. It might be Lewis Hamilton, it might be George Russell. I'm going to keep an eye out for the people that are on the grid, and we'll see if there's any work going on the cars. But yes, there was some sort of fluid leaking out of the Mercedes car, and it's not going to be and that's never a good sign. So yeah, I will keep you updated on the situation. I don't think it'll be the rain from yesterday. That's probably not not what it would be, but yeah, I'll let you guys know when I find out what happened to the Mercedes and if they have fixed it. Okay, oh yeah, what else have we got to watch? Esteban Ocon, he has now confirmed that he will be driving for Haas next year alongside Oliver Behrman, two totally different drivers for the Haas team. So we'll see how that works out for them. Of course, Esteban Ocon does have a lot of experience in Formula 1, and Oliver Behrman will be the new rookie on the block. Let's wait and see. Lando Norris still thinks that Red Bull is the quickest team on race pace. The simulation data did indicate that, but the McLarens always tend to have a bit of pace under their sleeve that they kind of do hide in practice. We've seen this now. McLaren, they are the team to beat, sort of, now, and they've turned their engine downs in practice to preserve their engines, make sure they don't have any DNFs going to the end of the season, and I think McLaren should have some more pace coming through come race time, which will be in 15 minutes. Okay, what else have we got going on? Not much really. A lot of people are performing at the Spa-Francorchamps circuit, but it'll be not long till we go racing. And there we go. We get the team radio message to Valtteri Bottas. 16 minutes to go. National anthem procedure starts in 2 minutes. Okay, oh yeah, Binotto. That name I haven't heard in a while. Binotto is back at Audi. He'll be he'll be leading the Audi team in 2025. So that is pretty interesting. We'll see how that happens. Right. Yuki starting from the back, of course. Yuki did have a 60-place grid penalty and then anyway got eliminated in 18th position. It looked like he wasn't trying particularly hard, knowing that he was going to start at the back. Even if he was on pole position, there was no need for him to push in quali. And yeah, so Yuki starting in 20th position with a brand new engine. We'll see if he can catch up to Daniel Ricciardo, but Ricciardo is up in 13th position, so it'll be a long race for Yuki Tsunoda for him to make his way through the pack. But yeah, here we are at the Spa-Francorchamps circuit. I'm going to take you through a lap, of course. Turn number 1, La Source, a very, very sharp hairpin. We've seen so many incidents here through the years. You know, we've had Pastor Maldonado crashing into everyone. We've seen Fernando Alonso being flipped over in 2018, flipping over into Charles Leclerc's Alfa Romeo in 2018, which was quite a crazy crash, to be honest, seeing how far Fernando Alonso was up in the air. And then, of course, you have got the famous Eau Rouge and Radion, where we've had so many brilliant overtakes through the years. And then, of course, the Camel Straight, where we've had Sebastian Vettel overtake Lewis Hamilton in 2018, where we had the iconic "But Here Comes Sebastian Vettel" commentary line. And then we have the Les Combes chicane. In fact, the Force Indias in 2018, which then turned into the Racing Points, which then turned into the Aston Martins, were actually side by side. It was 4 abreast down the Camel Straight. It was on the left, I think, was Sergio Perez, and then it was Sebastian Vettel, then Hamilton, and then Ocon on the outside. 4 drivers going side by side down the Camel Straight. That's how wide it is. Really, really good for racing. And then there's DRS down there as well, which will be enabled on the second lap of the race. You get into the Les Combes chicane. The drivers brake around about the 50-meter mark. You want to take the curb on the inside for the right-hander and for the left-hander as well. Turn number 7, there is runoff. There's gravel immediately on the other side of the exit curb. So we've seen quite a few drivers go wide there. We saw Lando Norris go wide in practice, and he damaged the floor because of going wide. So yeah, the drivers do have to be careful there. Even at any sort of mistake, you may only lose 2 to 3 seconds in race time by just going wide onto the gravel, but you may compromise your race significantly because of the damage you'll cause by the gravel. Turn number 8, very tricky corner. We've seen loads of drivers go wide there in the wet, and it is downhill braking zone. So yeah, locking up is fairly easy going through there. Turn number 9, just a nice simple left-hand corner, and you've got to get a pretty good exit there because you'll be going nearly flat through turn number 10. Pure is turn number 10, and the drivers are very, very close to going flat. They don't go fully flat, but yeah. Through turn 10, the driver's nearly flat, lifting a little bit. I think at the start of the race, they'll have a lot more fuel in the car, so their lifting will probably be the way forward. And then they go through towards turn number 12 and 13. The drivers have lost the rear there as well. We saw Oscar Piastri in practice go off into, have a massive slide. A lot of oversteer going through turn number 13, and then we get to turn number 14, Stavolo corner, which is so important to get a good exit because you are flat through for about 1 kilometer or so as you go through turn number 14, 15, and then 16, 17 is Blanchimont, a little flick to the left at 310 kilometers an hour, just casual Formula 1 things, and then you brake from 310 all the way down to 70 kilometers an hour for the bus stop chicane at turn number 18 and 19, and then very, very important to get a good exit back onto the main straight, and hopefully be a second behind the driver ahead of you to have DRS through the next couple of corners. Okay, just got in. Is it raining? No, folks. There is no rain this weekend. There's no rain for Sunday. There was rain, of course, yesterday, but it is sunshine in Spa-Francorchamps and no sign of any clouds anywhere. It is still very, very dry, and all of the water is drained away, so there's no sort of wet track anyway, and the sun will have evaporated anything else off. And yeah, why they call it the bus stop chicane? I think it's originally probably because there was a bus stop there. Yeah, not exactly sure why it's called the bus stop chicane, but I presume that's why it's called that. Alright, well, we might as well talk about the drivers in the top 8. We've got Charles Leclerc starting on pole. He started on pole here last year, lost the lead to Sergio Perez on the opening couple of laps, so we'll see if the same fate is repeated once again. Then we have Perez. This is his best grid starting position since China. In China, he scored a podium. Maybe he'll score a podium this weekend as well. Hamilton up there in third. He put a great lap together in wet conditions and really punched above his weight. The Mercedes isn't that quick this weekend, but he managed to get ahead of the McLarens, which is a great job from him. Norris and Piastri both together had their issues last weekend, and I think they should be able to rectify them and work together as a team, hopefully to get ahead of Lewis Hamilton and maybe to catch up to Leclerc and Perez. George Russell will be looking to get to stay with Lewis Hamilton here, and yeah, to stay with Lewis Hamilton and see what he can do. And Fernando Alonso had a great quali yesterday, so yeah, we'll see how he can do. But in those wet conditions, Fernando Alonso is pretty much just a beast, and he made it through into the into 8th position. Alright, I read somewhere that it was called the old layout Prix 2005 because the chicane resembled a bus stop. Fair enough. Do you think Max's insane pace gap yesterday was due to the new engine? That might be a factor, a very small factor nonetheless, because it is wet conditions and the engine will not have that big of an impact in wet conditions. Like, sure, if it was the full dry conditions, then the engine would have had an impact, but considering it was wet, I don't think it would have been that bad and that significant. So most of the pace that Verstappen had yesterday was just purely down to his skill and him being fantastic in wet conditions. If we cast our mind back to last year, there was a whole lot of action kicking off going into turn number 1. We had the McLarens crashing into the barriers, Perez getting the lead going down the Kemmel Straight, and yeah, we're gonna see what happens this year, but last year it was very, very chaotic. So yeah, let's find out. Okay. Alright folks, we have got 3,000 people tuned in the live stream. If you haven't hit the like button, be sure to do so. And if you haven't subscribed as well, that would really help out the channel. It would be fantastic as well. We've got a couple of radio checks coming through. A radio check to Charles Leclerc and 8 minutes to go till the start of the formation lap. I think my time is slightly off, or the data is slightly off, but yeah, everything should be fine come the start of the race. It will be dry conditions for the race, folks. Dry conditions. It was wet yesterday, but dry today. Okay. Alright, and also there's no sort of clean or dirty side of the grid. Normally we talk about some of the drivers starting on the clean side of the grid, some of the drivers starting on the dirty side of the grid. There is none of that this weekend, mainly because it rained yesterday, and also because Spa, the drivers go across the racing line. The racing line is across from the right hand side to the left hand side on the grid, and hence because of that there is actually no clean side or dirty side of the grid. Okay, what are the tyre strategies that are possible for this race? The drivers will most likely start on the medium tyres, then go on to the hards, and then go on to another set of hards. Now, a couple of drivers like Fernando Alonso, like Sergio Perez, like Max Verstappen, they do not have 2 sets of hard tyres, and they're probably going to go medium, hard, medium. That is yeah, that's probably the optimal strategy for them. So we'll see what they do. And maybe safety cars can change things up as well. If we have a late safety car, drivers will pit onto soft tyres to try and get an advantage. Yeah, alright, we're getting the final couple of radio checks coming through. The drivers are sat in their cars, got their balaclavas and earpieces and headsets on, and will be going racing very, very shortly. Okay. Thanks for a reply, loving the stream. It's become a habit of mine. Very much to appreciate it, folks. Is anyone on softs? We'll have the data coming through very, very shortly. It normally comes through around about 2 to 3 minutes before the start of the formation lap. Who is your favourite driver? My favourite driver is Sebastian Vettel, but of course he no longer drives in Formula 1, and hence I'm a bit impartial, not biased, you know? I guess it's pretty good for a commentator to not be biased, so yeah. Right. What else have we got to do? Oh yeah, might as well talk about a couple of drivers further down the field. We've of course got the Saubers that have brought upgrades this weekend. Alpines that were looking so quick in quali as well. I think Alpines may have opted for a bit of a wet setup, but that's why they were outperforming in qualifying than they normally do. But Alpine have brought massive upgrades this weekend. So have Sauber and so have Mercedes. Mercedes upgrades, they seem to work a little bit, but Mercedes were having issues getting everything fine-tuned to perfection. And yeah, that car really only does work when it's in that very, very small, narrow window. Otherwise, things don't work out too well for the Mercedes team. They've spent a lot of time tweaking the setup, making changes, understanding their upgrades, and they finally got a fast car. And now they've brought another set of upgrades, and it's once again, they're having a couple of issues getting it into the optimal window. Yeah. Is there a small chance for Mercs to fight in the title for 2025? Yeah, maybe. You know, if Mercedes can figure out their upgrades and have a great off-season, then sure, they could battle for 2025. Which team do you support? Don't really support any team. I guess if I support anyone, it would probably be Fernando Alonso or Yuki Tsunoda. I'm not particularly bothered, really. Yeah, and how long have I been commentating Formula 1? I started commentating the 2020 Russian Grand Prix. That was the first one I commentated. So, yeah, 2020 Russian Grand Prix was the first one, and since then it's been pretty much every single one. Okie dokes. What else have we got to talk about? 2 minutes now. The drivers will be getting their final checks done, getting the clutch settings dialed in as well. The clutch setting is very, very important for a start like this. If you can get a very good slingshot, this is another thing. We saw in 2018, Sebastian Vettel was right behind Lewis Hamilton as they came out of La Source. Turn number 1, Sebastian Vettel right behind. But the problem with being right behind the driver ahead of you as you go through Eau Rouge and the Camel Straight is, in fact, you don't have that much time to build up a sort of slingshot to get past them. You don't have the momentum to get past, albeit you may have a slipstream for a couple of meters for a couple hundred meters, but then after that you don't have the extra boost to actually overtake. So the best strategy to actually get an overtake done going through the Camel Straight and Eau Rouge and Raidillon is you actually do a little lift before going through Eau Rouge and Raidillon. So you are maybe 1 or 1.5 car lengths back from the driver ahead of you, which means you can get that slingshot, an extra build up in speed and momentum, and you can actually make that overtake, because of course there's no DRS, there's no advantage in terms of DRS, but yeah, the slingshot momentum is really very, very critical, and the drivers will be very careful to manage that gap. We're just having the tyre information coming through. Looks like most drivers will be starting on the medium tyres. We do have Carlos Sainz starting on the set of hards. We have Daniel Ricciardo starting on a set of soft tyres, and Guan Yu Zhou starting the race on a set of hard tyres. Everyone else, though, will be going on the mediums, and everyone else doing it on a fresh set of mediums as well. Okay. Yeah, wow, we've got 6,000 people tuned in. Thank you everyone for tuning in. We are 1 minute away from the formation lap. After the formation lap, the drivers will get into the grid positions and we will go racing. We're getting very, very close to 1,000 likes. So if we could hit 1,000 likes before the start of the race, that'd be fantastic. The Dutch fans are, here at the Belgian Grand Prix, and they are absolutely loving it. They're having a fantastic time. Yeah, Spa Grand Prix, the Belgian Grand Prix, definitely a Grand Prix that I would like to go to. Probably a little bit better than Silverstone just because of the atmosphere. But yeah, not long now till we get underway for some for some racing, yeah. So what place will Verstappen be at lap 5? Thank you for the donation, Orphan 1989. Thank you for the €6 donation. What place will Verstappen be by lap number 5? Well, let's see. He's currently in 11th position. He's won previously at Spa from 16th, I think it is. I'm not sure exactly which position it was, but Verstappen nonetheless, I think he will probably be at 7th place by lap number 5. That's what I'm going to guess. The weather is very, very sunny, folks. Track temperature is 42 degrees, air temperature 21 degrees, and the engineer's now moving to the side of the grid, and we will be going racing very, very shortly. Let me get rid of this timer on the screen so you guys can see all the team radio messages, and there you go, 30 seconds to go. Yeah, all right. Wow, we've already hit our like target. I guess I can just put that straight up to 2,000 likes. Thank you everyone all for the support, and hopefully we can hit 85k today, maybe even 86k. But the drivers put down their visors, and we will be going racing very, very shortly. Thank you for the donation, the Code Monster. Just join the Patreon. Keep it up, bro. Very much is appreciated. Oh yeah, I've just got a notification. Thank you for the Patreon. Thank you very, very much. Yeah, once again, a shout out to Stefan, the Code Monster, and AJ. These guys are my Patreons, and if you guys do want to help out the channel financially, link is in the description. And the reason I asked that is I do my best to prevent YouTube shoving adverts in your face. And because of that, of course, it doesn't help out the channel financially. So if you could, and if you are able to, then there is a link in the description for the Patreon. But otherwise, there's no need, because a like and subscription is more than enough. Right, the drivers making their way around onto the circuit for the formation lap. And in fact, I'm a little bit behind sync here, and I'm just going to knock that delay down to 30 seconds, and I think, yeah, the driver's just going to teleport up there on the screen, but we should be fine to yeah, should be fine there. Okay, very, very nice. In fact, I'm going to have a quick sip of water. There is no prediction for rain, folks. Absolutely no forecast for rain. We've just got the message from Race Control. Risk of rain is 0%. And, yeah, here we go then. All right, everyone just warming up those tyres, as you can see. They're going over the radio to George Russell, Fernando Alonso, telling everyone, lean on the tyres, warm them up, get them up into the correct temperature window, and we'll get some very good racing very, very shortly. The previous 3 races have all been won by Max Verstappen. He's won 2023, 2022, 2021. Hamilton won in 2020, and of course Leclerc won his first race in 2019 in Spa. So let's wait and see. F1 Gaming, can you explain where is Eau Rouge, Radion? Right, all of these names, yeah, I guess it's better off. So this is turn number 1 is La Source, turn number 3 and 4 here. This is Eau Rouge, this is Radion. The Kemmel Straight is this straight here. Then you've got Les Combes Chicane. This is Pouon at turn number 10. Stavelot, turn number 14. This is Blanchimont, turn number 17, and this is the bus stop chicane where the drivers currently are. So those are the corner names for this circuit, but we have currently got Leclerc and Perez making their way to the start of the grid, and we'll be going racing very, very shortly, folks. We've got 10,000 people already tuned into live stream. That is simply lovely. In fact, that's just not gone up to 11,000. Very much do appreciate all of the support, and If you are enjoying, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. I've commentated all of the practice sessions, all of the qualifying sessions, all of the races as well. So hopefully you don't miss out. We'll be going to race in 3 weeks' time in Zandvoort. But for now, here we are at Spa-Francorchamps. We'll have 44 laps of racing around this historic circuit. There has been so much action here throughout the years. Of course, Michael Schumacher driving around on 3 wheels in wet conditions. So much action, so much history. And I think it feels like we're going to have another one of these spectacular races at Spa, with Verstappen starting 11th, Charles Leclerc up in first place. There is going to be a lot of action, but all the drivers now line up onto the grid, and we've just got Guan Yu Zhou, Yuki Tsunoda and Logan Sargent making their way to the final grid start. So the last car is onto the grid, and we will be going racing very, very shortly. The man at the back is waving the green flag. We have got 1, 2, 3 and 4 lights. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the start of the Grand Prix, and we're racing. And Leclerc gets a great start, and Hamilton looks to the inside of Sergio Perez going into turn 1. Hamilton's already got ahead of Sergio Perez. Perez round the outside. Can he stay on the circuit? Yes, he can. Oh, one of the McLarens goes wide, and the McLarens are going very, very slowly. It looks like Piastri's had a bit of a bad start, but now we go into Eau Rouge and Radion. Great start there for Charles Leclerc. And he still holds his lead. Lewis Hamilton just ahead of Sergio Perez, and Lando Norris is the McLaren driver that had the bad start. And they are now side by side. Hamilton edges Sergio Perez by the finest of margins into turn number 5, and he holds the lead. And Hamilton's in fact lost it. Loses the position. George Russell loses the position to Oscar Piastri. Apologies for the mistake there. And we're now going into the second sector, but a good start from Charles Leclerc, a good start from Piastri, but Norris losing 3 places there at the start. Very, very crazy. Max Verstappen goes up 1 place, gets ahead of Ocon, but yeah, it's going to be a long set of overtaking for Max Verstappen, and Hamilton already feeling the pressure from Sergio Perez. Perez has got the quicker car. He seems to even be the quicker driver this weekend, and he looks like he's catching right up to Lewis Hamilton, and DRS will be enabled on the next lap. The drivers are going to be struggling. Well, there's going to be a bit of a DRS train. Currently, all the gaps are within 1 second, so we might see a very, very long train. Start of another weekend, another race weekend, another terrible start for Lando Norris. Exoteric, thank you for the donation. Not on Patreon, but I'll kick out for a coffee here. Very much is appreciated. Thank you very, very much. Okay, we've got Max Verstappen. What an overtake on Alex Albon round the outside into the bus stop chicane. Simply lovely for Max Verstappen. And he's done an overtake at the bus stop chicane. Now he's looking to overtake Fernando Alonso as he goes up towards the hill. Let's wait and see. Alright, DRS has been enabled. The driver's now heading up the hill. We're going to have DRS on the Kemmel Straight. Hamilton is going to be putting pressure on Leclerc, and we're going to have Perez putting pressure on Hamilton. But all the drivers lead the way down, and Hamilton is getting extremely close here, but nothing that he can do. Norris gets the move done on Sainz, but then misses his braking zone, goes wide, and Sainz reclaims the position. Lando Norris making another mistake. He had a bad race start, losing some places, and then another mistake going into the Les Combes chicane today from Lando Norris. Not ideal whatsoever. Yeah, the data is a little bit behind. In fact, I'm just going to update it. The screen will just... there we go. Yeah, the drivers just teleport there. The data's a little bit behind. There we go. Okie dokes. So Charles Leclerc in the lead of this race. He's 6/10 behind from Lewis Hamilton, and we've got Sergio Perez right on his tail as well. And we've got Sainz. Sainz has actually done a good job considering he's on hard tyres. He's actually done a fantastic job there. Yeah. Okie dokes. Lap number 2 of 42. No DRS down the back straight, but we'll wait and see what they can do on this upcoming lap. Of course, Leclerc is going to have no DRS whatsoever. We'll keep an eye on the top speeds, but it's going to be very, very tough as they go through the bus stop chicane. Now, Lewis Hamilton right on Leclerc's tail. He opens the DRS flap. Now, looking to the inside at La Source. He's making sure Leclerc is looking in his mirrors, but Hamilton takes a bit of a wider apex, and he looks to get a good exit down the Kemmel Straight, down down the straight, and here he goes towards Eau Rouge and Radion. Can he get an overtake done? Does not look like it, but now here he comes onto the Camel Straight. This is the main overtaking opportunity. This is for the lead of the race. Charles Leclerc versus Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton opens the DRS. He breezes past Leclerc, and there is nothing Leclerc can do. And Hamilton now up into the lead of the Belgian Grand Prix, and Sergio Perez is nowhere to be seen. In fact, he drops a second back off Lewis Hamilton, and Sergio Perez is struggling once again. Don't know what's been going on there, but Perez has really got to pick up at the pace. All right, Max Verstappen has already overtaken Fernando Alonso, and he set the fastest lap of the race, so Lando Norris is next up on his overtaking list. Max Verstappen is a man on a mission. We're on lap number 3. Verstappen is already up into 8th place. Let's wait and see. All right, Charles Leclerc, you do not want to count out Charles Leclerc. He's had a fantastic record at Spa. He won here in 2019, and he's going to have the slipstream. He's going to have the DRS as the drivers come through Stavelot now, and Charles Leclerc 8/10 back from Lewis Hamilton, but the slipstream is really going to help him out as he goes down the straight. Oh no, Guan Yu Zhou's going slowly. Zhou is going slowly. Seems like there's some sort of issue for Guan Yu Zhou. We've got a team radio message. What is he saying? Zhou's lost hydraulics, folks. Zhou has lost hydraulics, and that is why he is going very, very slowly. And unfortunate there for Guan Yu Zhou, but Lewis Hamilton with the fastest lap of the race. Charles Leclerc, he's got DRS on Lewis Hamilton, but he is so close to losing it. He needs to get a good exit out of this corner, and he doesn't get one. He is 1.1 seconds behind Hamilton. It looks like Leclerc's not going to have DRS here. Hamilton in the lead of this race, potentially might run away with this. Let's see what Max Verstappen can do as they now go towards Radion. Verstappen right on Norris's tail. He's going to have some DRS as well, but Norris has got DRS on Sainz, and Sainz has got DRS on Russell. Russell's got DRS on Piastri, Piastri on Perez, and Perez on Leclerc. It's a massive DRS train, and it's going to be hugely difficult to break this up and get some overtakes done. Verstappen right there at the back of the train, but it's going to be very difficult, folks. Yeah. Folks, in the chat, if you could only do one spam, that would be fantastic. That would very much be appreciated. But yeah, Hamilton holding this up at the front, and Charles Leclerc, looks like Hamilton made a mistake. Yeah, look at that. The first sector slower than everyone else because he didn't have any slipstream. Leclerc is right on his tail. It looks like it's round number 2 against Lewis Hamilton and Leclerc. This time, Hamilton's defending and Leclerc is attacking. Guan Yu Zhou is going very slowly. I think he's just limped it back to the pits. Oh, I don't know. He's not even gone into the pits. Okay, that's a bit odd. Maybe everything has been fixed. I don't know how you can refix a hydraulic issue, but it came over the radio saying something is wrong with the hydraulics, so he is okay to continue most raid and shift 2. So that's what they said to Guan Yu Zhou, and he's once again racing, but he is now 60 seconds, nearly a minute behind the leaders. Here comes Lewis Hamilton, Charles Leclerc, he's got the DRS, and yeah, once again a very long DRS train, and Max Verstappen, his tyres are going to be struggling right at the back of this train. It's going to be tough, especially with this high tyre wear. Pulling off an undercut might be difficult here. Oh, sorry, pulling off the undercut is the optimal strategy. So which team is going to bite first? Which team is going to say, oh, we'll pit now and we'll get an undercut on the driver ahead of us? Because that is the optimal way forward. So, let's wait and see. We've got 16,000 people tuned into the live stream, folks. If you haven't hit the like button, be sure to do so. It really does help out the channel. And if you aren't subscribed, then that would be fantastic as well. But up here, we have got Lewis Hamilton 7/10 in the lead of this race, and Sergio Perez in 3rd place. All right. Wow, we've already hit our like target, so I guess that goes up to 3,000. Simply lovely. And we're getting extremely close to 85,000 subscribers as well. Just now, the DRS train up at the front might be breaking here. Sergio Perez 1.3 seconds behind Charles Leclerc. He's not going to have battery forever. He cannot continuously press the overtake button and and stay within DRS of Charles Leclerc. So it's going to be difficult. Piastri has got DRS on Perez. Hamilton purple through the middle sector. It looks like he's really attacking at this one. Because, he's got to attack now. If he's got the lead and if he can build out that 1 second gap, that is going to help out enormously in his potential chances to win a race, maybe even get a podium this weekend. So, yeah, let's wait and see what he can do. Okie dokes, here they are coming through. La Source once again. Max Verstappen, he's stuck behind Lando Norris. Verstappen may be massively quicker than Norris, but the DRS train is making it so difficult for him to make an overtake. It is, at some point sooner or later that DRS train is going to break. In fact, it already has. Leclerc's lost DRS on Hamilton and Perez has lost DRS on Leclerc. The top three out of the DRS train. And yeah, we'll see how it progresses now. It's going to be a very long day for Guan Yu Zhou. He's now 90 seconds off the lead, and don't know what's going on there. Hamilton's coming over the radio saying something's down by my legs. I think that could be a potential screw or something wrong, but yeah, nothing that they can do about it now, and I think Hamilton's just going to have to drive with it. As long as it doesn't get stuck behind one of the brake pedals or the accelerator pedal, he should be fine. We've got Yuki Tsunoda complaining, being told about his rear tyres being a bit too hot, and Yuki Tsunoda's only in 18th position. There's not even that much dirty air ahead of him, and he still is struggling with the rear tyres. And as for someone asking, I think it was Kiaz asking, why is Max Verstappen massively quicker? I think it was because Verstappen set the fastest lap of the race before he got caught up to the back of the DRS train, and then got stuck behind Lando Norris. Guan Yu Zhou comes into the pits. It looks like he will retire from this race. Be mindful of the mechanics, I'll go slow. There's some sort of issues with the brakes and the hydraulics, and that's why he's going slowly. But yes, Guan Yu Zhou retiring from this Grand Prix. Okay, up at the front then, Oscar Piastri, he does have DRS on Sergio Perez. Perez has no one ahead of him for slipstream, no one ahead of him for DRS, and Oscar Piastri could get this overtake done for third place. He activates the DRS, he's gaining on Sergio Perez, 0.3 is the gap, and going into the Lecombe chicane just a little bit too far back to get that overtake done there, but it was so close between Piastri and Perez. Maybe on the next lap we will get an overtake. Okie dokes. Don't forget to take a sip of water. Indeed, I will. Thank you for the donation. Thank you for the $2 Australian donation. Very much is appreciated. We're getting pretty close to 3,000 likes. Fast Finance. Yeah, I will take a sip of water. In fact, I'll do that right now. Okay. Piastri, 1.3 seconds behind. His middle sector was not as good as Perez. In fact, he was a second slower in the middle sector. Looks like Piastri made a pretty big mistake. And him losing out massively in that middle sector. He was right on the back of Perez. But this is the thing. Look at the top now. Everyone has broken that 1 second gap. Russell has now got DRS on Piastri, but slowly but surely, everyone from the top, DRS is getting smaller and smaller. And it seems like it will be not long now before Lando Norris loses DRS on Sainz, and we could have a battle forming on our hands. Yeah, actually, it might be a bit longer because Sainz... Ooh, Nico Hülkenberg, first driver to come into the pits after only 8 laps of racing. Nico Hülkenberg pulls into the pit lane on a set of medium tyres, and I think he's going to try and undercut a couple of drivers ahead of him. This is the thing, the undercut is so powerful at this circuit because the tyre wear is so high. This is the same thing that we had in Hungary. The undercut is hugely powerful, and the drivers do have to beware of that. And Now, I think on the next lap, we're going to see a couple more drivers that were around Nico Hülkenberg when he came into the pits. We're going to see a couple more drivers coming into the pits to try and prevent any sort of undercut occurring. Right, 17,000 people tuned into the live stream. That is simply lovely, folks. Very much is appreciated. All right, let's get back to the coverage. What else have we got to talk about? Yeah, well, Lance Stroll, Daniel Ricciardo, Valtteri Bottas, all there struggling a little bit. Ricciardo there on the soft tyres, still not gaining any places. In fact, compared to the race start, he's lost one position. So, yeah, so the soft tyres not working that well at this circuit, and Daniel Ricciardo will probably come into the pits very, very soon. It's not looking all that good for him today. All right, what else have we got going on? 1.6 seconds is the gap at the front. Hamilton is managing that fairly consistently. On the previous lap times, Leclerc was only 1/10 quicker than Lewis Hamilton. That is nothing too significant. We had George Russell going wide at turn number 8, going up onto the AstroTurf there, and the car just understeering a little bit. They're not performing optimally. It seems a little bit sluggish, especially with all of the extra fuel in the car. We've got Carlos Sainz. He's still attacking George Russell. Russell's making a couple of mistakes here. Sainz has got an opportunity to make an overtake. Here they are going down the Kemmel Straight. What can Carlos Sainz do? Russell's got no one ahead of him for slipstream. Sainz is gaining and gaining, but he's a little bit too far back, and it seems like Ferrari have got a bit too much downforce, and they're not so quick down the straights. Okay, why is McLaren asking Oscar which plan he wants? That's not his decision. Frustrated grunts. Indeed, plan A or plan B. That's what they've asked is plan A or plan B. What do you think? And Piastri said plan A. I mean, the question really depends on tyre wear. Plan A is probably, medium, hard, or plan B is medium, hard, medium. And, yeah, the plan is they're just asking him, what do you think the tyre wear's like? What tyres would you like to be on? I think that's why they are asking Oscar Piastri what strategies to do. All right, we have now got Max Verstappen looking to catch up to Lando Norris, but once again, as I said, there is a DRS train, and making these overtakes are going to be extremely tough. Up at the front, gap is 2 seconds, and then another gap from 2 seconds from Leclerc to Perez, and 1.5 second gap to Piastri, and Russell, in fact, getting pretty close to Piastri. All of the drivers now slowly, they're going to start to struggle. These tyres the drivers do have to pit around lap number 10 or so. The circuit is so long. The drivers have already done 70 kilometers of racing here. The tyres are still okay. The rears are starting to struggle a little bit. That is what Lewis Hamilton has said over the radio. I think Charles Leclerc could definitely try for an undercut. We're here on lap number 10. Those medium tyres are wearing out as soon as possible. The pit strategy, start the race on the mediums, go onto the hard tyres, and then do another stint on the hard tyres. So medium, hard is the quickest pit strategy by Pirelli. Now, if you undercut the driver ahead of you, then you have a solid chance of getting some overtakes done. Look at that, Alex Albon, purple in the second sector, purple in the third sector. He's come out on a fresh set of medium tyres, and yeah, he's gone purple in the first sector, purple in the second and third sector. Gasly's also come into the pits, and we're getting a couple of pit stops coming through. Now, the question remains is, the drivers at the top, they need a bit of a pit stop gap. Where they come out, they need some clean air so they can really attack the circuit. And Leclerc, at this moment, if he comes out, he's going to come out right behind Yuki Tsunoda and Kevin Magnussen. So if Kevin Magnussen, Yuki Tsunoda and Stroll pit, that is the exact time they're going to see Charles Leclerc coming into the pit lane as well. I mean, that is of course assuming Ferrari does know how to do strategy, but you can never really take that for granted, can you? So yeah. Okie dokes. Lewis Hamilton, though, up in the lead of this race by 2 seconds. Current thought, plan A, target -2. That's what they're saying to Piastri. Target -2 suggests that they were probably going to go to, lap number 14. Now they're going to pit on lap number 12. So they're looking to do some undercuts here. And they come over the radio to Lando Norris. Be careful with the wheel spin out of the slow speed corners. And yeah, the wheel spin is really killer. It really does overheat your tyres. And also the chances of you spinning out are a lot higher as well. Oh, we've got someone coming into the pits. Who is that coming into the pits? Max Verstappen coming into the pits. Box. Verstappen's coming to do some undercuts here. Norris was only a 10th ahead of him, so 1 full second ahead of him, so Russell comes into the pits as well. Norris comes into the pits. 2.3 second stop for Russell. 2.7 second stop for Max Verstappen. And Verstappen looking to get an undercut done on Lando Norris. And we'll see if it works out then. Lando Norris will be told to attack as soon as possible. And we'll keep an eye out on these sector times. Okay, yeah, very exciting here, and it looks like the Red Bull strategy crew is working overtime here because the DRS train was not helping overtaking whatsoever. Verstappen has got a bit of clean air. George Russell has not. He's got Yuki Tsunoda ahead of him, and ahead of Yuki Tsunoda there's Kevin Magnussen. That's not going to help him out, but the one thing that George Russell does have, he does have slipstream. Tsunoda lets him by. He knows there's no sort of battle, there's no point overtaking him or battling with him, but Russell's out on a fresh set of hard tyres, and so is Max Verstappen. All right, what will Lando Norris do? Will he come into the pits on this occasion? His first sector is nothing crazy. No purple first sector, no green first sector even for Lando Norris. And this undercut might just work in Max Verstappen's favour. Yeah, Verstappen's foot flat to the floor, going maximum attack here. He's going to catch up to Tsunoda as well very, very soon. The pace difference between a fresh set of hards and some old mediums is enormous, and within half a lap, Verstappen has caught up 2 seconds to Yuki Tsunoda. He's going to get out of the way very, very shortly, and George Russell gets here. Ooh, Tsunoda closes the door on Max Verstappen there. Verstappen won't be happy, but nonetheless, he's going to make another overtake as he goes towards Blanchimont. Hamilton comes into the pits. The leaders come into the pits. Why didn't Charles Leclerc come into the pits? He should have followed him through. Perez comes into the pits as well. We have a couple more drivers coming into the pits. Oscar Piastri into the pits as well. Hamilton 2.6 second pit stop. Sergio Perez a fairly quick pit stop as well, and Oscar Piastri a nice and quick pit stop as well. All drivers having clean pit stops, and Lando Norris, who is potentially getting undercut by Max Verstappen, has still not come into the pits. A 2.2 second stop for Perez, and a 2.0 stop for Piastri. Very, very quick from the McLaren crew. And up in the lead of this race, we've got 2 Ferraris and a McLaren, but they are at threat of being undercut here. Look at that final sector from George Russell, a purple final sector. We've got Max Verstappen. He's green in the final sector as well. Lando Norris is losing time left, right, and centre on the corners, on the straights, compared to Max Verstappen. So, yeah, McLaren strategy department, I don't know what you're doing. They've told that Charles Leclerc over the radio to box. Carlos Sainz looks like he's going to inherit the lead because they're not going to do a double stop for no reason. Verstappen gets the overtake done on K-Mag, and there's a 2-second gap for him to George Russell, but he's got a purple first sector. The DRS from K-Mag has really helped him out. And yeah, Max Verstappen, it looks like he will undercut Lando Norris. Nicely done there from the Red Bull crew. We've still yet to see, but Norris should be coming into the pits. Both safety car windows are open apparently. And yeah. All right, we've got 20,000 people tuned into the live stream. That is simply lovely, folks. If you haven't hit the like button, be sure to do so. It really does help out. If we could get to 4,000 likes, that would be spectacular. We're also getting pretty close to 85,000 subscribers. Maybe we'll get 86 today, but yeah, very much is appreciated. Charles Leclerc dives into the pit lane for his first pit stop. Lando Norris once again isn't coming into the pits. Seems like they're going for a bit of an overcut here. Lando Norris, he knows that he's got 2 sets of hard tyres. Max Verstappen, he's got a set of hards and a set of mediums, so that compromises Verstappen in terms of race strategy. Leclerc comes out out of the pit lane. He comes out ahead of Perez, behind Hamilton. He does not lose any time whatsoever in the pit lane. He in fact gains half a second. So nicely done there from the Ferrari pit crew, not losing much time to Lewis Hamilton. Ocon and Stroll come into the pits as well. Verstappen with the fastest lap of the race. He's catching up to George Russell as soon as possible. And yeah, I'd like to confirm, when Lando Norris comes into the pits eventually, he'll lose 20 to 18 seconds in the pit lane, and that'll put him 2 seconds behind Max Verstappen. So he's lost that. Position to Max. And now Max will be on his merry way trying to catch up to George Russell. Sergio Perez is ahead of him, and the team compromising the strategy a little bit for Sergio Perez, and he lost the place to Oscar Piastri in the pit lane, which is not ideal. But he has got DRS on him. Piastri's got no one ahead of him for DRS. The Red Bull is slippery in a straight line, but the McLarens do have a dry setup, and I think the Red Bulls have got a slightly more wet-oriented setup than normal. Let's wait and see. Okay. Okie dokes. Also, folks, I'd just like to point this out. I have blocked all of the adverts from YouTube, so you guys don't get any adverts while you're watching live. But if you guys do want to help out the channel, there is a Patreon link in the description and a Buy Me a Coffee link. So, yeah, if you guys would like to help out the channel, then there is that. But back to the race. Max Verstappen 1 second behind George Russell now. We've got Fernando Alonso coming into the pit lane, a purple middle sector from Leclerc, fastest first sector from Piastri, fastest lap of the race, Sergio Perez. He said no to Sergio Perez, and looks like Perez is going to have a tough time overtaking Oscar Piastri here. We're up to 85,000 subscribers, which is fantastic. And yeah, we're getting pretty close to 21,000 people live as well. But yeah, hopefully you guys are enjoying the fact that I'm blocking the adverts. YouTube obviously isn't particularly pleased, but I hope you guys are. Because, you know, you're watching a race, an overtake's about to happen, and then you get an advert about some, like, car insurance or something. It's like, what's the point? Yeah. Okie dokes. We've got Logan Sargent looking to overtake Lance Stroll here. Going down the Kemmel Straight, Logan Sargent gets a very nice run, and he looks to the inside of Lance Stroll. What is Stroll going to do? Are they going to have a crash? Going into Lecom, Sargent backs out of it. Stroll brakes extremely late, and he manages to make it into the corner. Nicely done there from Lance Stroll. Okay, is Lando trying a one-stop? I don't know, actually. I don't know. I will have a look. They've just said 100% pace, please, to Lando Norris. 100% pace. So it seems like he'll be coming into the pits very, very soon. Oh, we've got a donation. Reed Repairs, thank you for the £2 donation. Very much is appreciated. Yeah, thank you for helping out the channel. You know, I've got like a professional mic and all of these things. Thanks to you guys. It is very much appreciated. But in the lead of this race, Lando Norris has been told to go 100% attack. He sets a personal best lap time as well. So it seems like he's going to be wearing out his tyres, doing an overcut strategy. We've seen this before. McLaren have been successful at pulling off overcut strategies even when there is very, very high tyre wear. Because the thing is now, Verstappen, he's done 4 laps on his hard tyres. That is 28 kilometers on his hard tyres. If Norris comes into the pits now, he's going to have 28, 30 kilometer fresher hard tyres, and that is going to help him out so much in making an overtake. So we'll see. We'll see. Currently though, Norris, if he comes out of the pit lane, he's going to be around about 4 or 5 seconds behind Verstappen. It's going to be a bit of a long drive to catch him up. Stroll comes over the radio saying the straight line speed is a effing joke. Yeah, I don't know, Stroll. I mean, he probably decided the setup, so yeah. But nonetheless, Alex Albon makes an overtake on Yuki Tsunoda. Nicely done from that. Nicely done from Alex Albon. Esoteric, thank you. Communal, thanks for the ad block. Very much is appreciated. And yeah, I will continue blocking adverts as long as YouTube lets me. Yeah. Okie dokes. Thank you, Ben's Escape. Very much is appreciated. Green flag track is clear. It seems like there was some sort of yellow flag, but that's been cleared up very, very quickly. Tsunoda hasn't come into the pits yet. Neither has Kevin Magnussen, and neither has Carlos Sainz or Lando Norris. Sainz won't be coming in for a while, though. He's on the hard tyres on his first stint, so he's going to do a roundabout, probably 20 laps, maybe, yeah, probably 20 laps, maybe 17 or 18, and then he'll come into the pits. But nicely done there from Carlos Sainz. He's done a good job. Lando Norris finally comes into the pit lane, and he'll come onto for a set of hard tyres. Yes, there he goes. They lift him up onto the jacks. A very nice synchronized dance from all 16 pit crew members. A 2.3 second pit stop for Lando Norris, and he heads out back into the pit lane, and he comes on to the race circuit behind Max Verstappen, of course, but of course with the fresher tyres to his advantage. So we'll see if that works out for for the McLaren strategy team, but normally on these high degradation circuits, the overcut doesn't work as well. And just look at that massive gap. 5 seconds, 6 seconds is the gap between Verstappen and Norris. And Norris isn't even going to have any DRS to help him catch up. Maybe a bit of a strategy blunder from McLaren. They've told Lando Norris he can use Strat 6, which is one of the higher power modes in the McLaren car, but nonetheless it's going to be a bit of a struggle catching up to Max Verstappen. Okay, Verstappen, though, what can he do? He's got Russell ahead of him, and ahead of Russell is Sergio Perez. Perez is giving DRS to Russell, which is, in effect, preventing Max Verstappen from actually overtaking him. Verstappen's up 4 places, started the race in 11th, up into 7th as of now, and he's done his pit stop as well, which is fantastic. Let's wait and see what Carlos Sainz, let's wait and see what Max Verstappen can do. Yeah, Esteban Ocon made an overtake on Pierre Gasly down the Kemmel Straight. We've just got a replay of that, the two Alpines battling away. They were so good in qualifying yesterday, but I do have a feeling they opted for a wet-oriented setup, and now today in these dry conditions, their pace is absolutely nowhere. Yeah, we're on lap number 16 of 44, nearly 1/3 of the way through the race, probably more than 1/3 of the way through the race, actually. But Carlos Sainz still in the lead of this race. Lewis Hamilton, purple in the middle sector. He's only 1.5 seconds ahead of Charles Leclerc. The gap is not all that big. A little slip up here and there. Charles Leclerc will be right within DRS range, and we'll see what Charles Leclerc can do. Yeah. All right, Verstappen, though, he is stuck behind George Russell, and I'm sure he'll be complaining over the radio. We'll see if you get any team radio messages from him. But here they go down the Kemmel Straight, and yeah, George Russell is in a Red Bull sandwich, but that Red Bull sandwich is keeping him in 6th position and not letting him drop any further back. All right, Verstappen said over the radio, I think we should try to get them, mate. What do you think? And they said, and his engineer said, have a go. And Verstappen getting dangerously close here through turn number 8, gets so much closer to Russell than he previously was. Verstappen's really going for it now. And let's wait and see. Let's wait and see. What will Max Verstappen do? Can he overtake George Russell on this circuit when Russell has got DRS from his teammate ahead of him? It's going to be very, very difficult. Who's leading? Carlos Sainz is leading, but in terms of net race lead, it will be Lewis Hamilton that's technically leading the race. Carlos Sainz may be able to pull off a one-stop strategy depending on how long he goes on these these hard tyres for. The medium tyres, as we can see, most drivers can pull off around about 15 laps or so. Yeah. All right. They've come over the radio to Oscar Piastri saying there's more pace in the high speed. You can attack a little bit more, and they're telling him to try and catch up to Charles Leclerc mainly. The gap is 3 seconds, and if any sort of incident happens between Hamilton and Leclerc, then Piastri will be right there to capitalise on it. How did Sainz get into P1? Sainz got into P1 by just not coming into the pit lane. That's why he is in 1st place. We've got Lando Norris, fastest lap of the race. Yeah, he was 6 seconds behind. 6 seconds behind Verstappen when he came out of the pits. The gap now 4.3 seconds. So he is really catching up, and he does have the tire advantage. But the problem is with the DRS, it's going to be so tough. Verstappen going into the Lake Combe chicane still too far back to get anything done. Very, very unfortunate there, but we've got Lewis Hamilton in the net lead of this race, which is quite crazy. I did not think the Mercs would be winning. Mercedes did bring quite a few upgrades. They brought upgrades everywhere on the car. There were subtle tweaks to the halo, to the rear wing, to the front wing, to the suspension, to the floor, diffuser. All of them, loads of tweaks to the Mercedes team. They did not look that good in practice, but it seems like overnight, over Friday night and Saturday night, they've done loads of sim work, and they seem to got a pretty good grip of the car. And Hamilton, of course, in the lead of this race after having a great race start as well. Yeah, let's wait and see what he can do. The gap up at the front is 4.5 seconds. Hamilton is closing down on Carlos Sainz, and Sainz hasn't even come into the pits yet. All right. Sainz is still leading. This is a bit of this is a bit of a good strategy, to be honest, with Carlos Sainz, because as you can see, Verstappen, even though he is on probably a quicker car than George Russell and a bit quicker in terms of driver as well in this current spec of at the circuit, Verstappen still unable to get past because of DRS and him just being on the same tyres, whereas Sainz is probably going to be going on the mediums all the way to oh, wait, what have they said? Oh, Sainz might be doing a one-stop, folks. I've just seen the team radio messages, and Sainz has come over the radio saying, we'll wait a couple of laps, and then we'll decide. Sainz might be doing a one-stop strategy to potentially score a podium this weekend, because everyone else is going to have to do another pit stop. They've really attacked on these hard tyres, and they will wear out to the end of this race. But if Sainz can go to maybe lap number 22 and on the set of hard tyres, he can maybe do another 22 laps on a set of mediums, because he will have a lighter fuel load, and that will definitely help out. Yeah. All right. I don't know why Verstappen, ideally what Red Bull should do is tell Perez to really pick up the pace in the middle sector, so Russell loses DRS and then Verstappen can get an overtake done. But if it keeps going like this, Verstappen is going to be stuck down in 7th and 8th position. And honestly, the McLarens aren't even anywhere to capitalise. Lando Norris down in 8th position, chasing down Max Verstappen, but Verstappen's nowhere near the lead anyway. And we've got Oscar Piastri, who's in 4th. He'll be in a net 3rd place, but still nowhere near, winning the race or capitalising on the fact that Max Verstappen is stuck in 7th position. So, yeah, I don't know what McLarens are doing, but very, very interesting. When you have 4 different teams that are so quick, it is so difficult to predict who's going to win this race. I thought the McLarens would be competing for the win, but it turns out the Ferraris and the Mercedes are. George Russell, in fact, is looking to attack Sergio Perez here. Very, very interesting. Russell, who was under pressure from Verstappen for quite a while now, Verstappen's backed off a little bit. Seems like he needs to cool his tyres down. And yeah, Russell now attacking Sergio Perez. Sainz does have a set of mediums, he does have a set of softs, but I think for the second strategy it'll probably be the mediums if he's going to go all the way to the end of this race. Russell is gaining and gaining, he looks to the inside, forces Perez to go defensive, and that's the closest Russell has been to overtaking Sergio Perez. Perez is going to have to get very, very defensive because the Mercedes is fairly quick in a straight line, as we saw Lewis Hamilton breeze by Charles Leclerc down the straight on lap number 2 of this race. Okay. Wow, we've got 24,000 people tuned into live stream. That is spectacular, folks. If you are enjoying the coverage, by the way, I commentate all of the qualifyings, all of the races, and all of the practice sessions as well. I'll be doing the next Grand Prix, which is the Zandvoort Grand Prix, the Dutch Grand Prix. Of course, Max Verstappen's home race. He'll be looking to win that one. And if you are interested, then be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future live streams. We saw Esteban Ocon overtake Fernando Alonso there for 11th position. A nice overtake from Esteban Ocon, but the DRS very, very powerful, and the Astons are so slow in a straight line. Both Fernando Alonso, both Lance Stroll, I'm sure Alonso will be just waiting to come over the radio and say GP2 engine, GP2, and complain about the lack of pace. Carlos Sainz finally comes into the pit lane. We're on lap number 21 of 24. What tyres is it going to be? It is going to be a set of mediums for Carlos Sainz. Is he going to go all the way to the end of this race? If he can conserve his tyres and have a bit of clean air, look at that gap. He's going to come out behind Lando Norris, have a whole bunch of clean air ahead of him. If he can drive in clean air for 21 laps or for 24 laps or so, then he could maybe get to the end of this race. It's going to be very, very tough, but he could do it. Oh wow, we're already on 4,000 likes. That is spectacular, right? Up to 5,000. I did not expect this. The highest likes that we've ever had on a live stream, 5,700. So we're getting pretty close, folks. Pretty close. And George Russell overtakes Sergio Perez down the Kemmel Straight. What a move from George Russell. Are the Red Bulls going to swap positions immediately? I don't know what's going to go on, but Verstappen is going to be over the radio immediately saying, oh, swap me around with Perez. There's no point with me being stuck behind him. Let's wait and see. The Mercedes are looking quicker than the Red Bulls in these conditions. Maybe it was because Mercedes have a bit more of a dry-oriented setup. Red Bull thought that the track position would help them out, but Red Bull aren't looking all that quick down the straights. So yeah, let's wait and see. Let's wait and see what George Russell... Well, George Russell is going to run away with this, but let's wait and see what this come over the radio to Max Verstappen. They said, and Max, no need to dump energy here. Do not use energy. Mode 6 to Sergio Perez. I don't know what Mode 6 is on the Red Bull engine, unfortunately. But, they've said box, Checo, box. Strat 12 in the pit lane. They're pulling Sergio Perez into the pits. That seems around about accurate. Sergio Perez will be coming to the pit lane on this lap, and it is box for him. Okie dokes. He's done his first set on the medium tyres. He's done 11 laps on the mediums on his first stint, 9 laps on his second stint, and now he's got 23 laps left to do, and he's going to do that on a set of hard tyres. Okie dokes. Here comes Max Verstappen now. He's been unleashed to chase down George Russell. The gap is 2 seconds. Russell, the most critical thing though, Russell does not have any DRS ahead of him. I don't know why they brought Perez in on 9-lap-old tyres. I think it was just to get him out of the way of Max Verstappen, if I'm going to be honest, and probably because there's a pit stop window. If you look at it now, Perez has got so much clean air ahead of him, and he's just got out ahead of Albon, so the pit stop window probably lined up as well. It was two things just working out, and Perez has been coming to the pits with only 9-lap-old medium tyres, which is a bit odd, but it's all right. And yeah, up at the front, the gap 1.8 seconds. It is not all that big. Once again, another mistake from Lewis Hamilton. Not another mistake, just a single mistake from Lewis Hamilton, and we could see him lose the place to Charles Leclerc. We've in fact got a replay here. Hamilton missing the apex a little bit, and the car sliding about. His front right tyre isn't looking all that good. And the front right tyre definitely does take a very big beating around here. Blanchimont, a left-hander. Pouon, a left-hander. Eau Rouge, a left-hander. And the front right tyre definitely does take a very, very big beating. And Hamilton's front right is not looking all that good, but he should be fine for the foreseeable future. Sergio Perez coming over the radio saying, we are very slow on the straights. And what else? It seems to be confirmed. Red Bull did go for a wet setup yesterday, and that is why they are very slow down the straights. Thank you, Esoteric, for another donation. Oh my god, thank you very, very much. I've got to find a beverage sponsorship. Your poor voice. Indeed, my throat is actually hurting quite a bit. I'm going to have a quick sip of water, folks. But Norris now doing the overcut strategy, which I thought wouldn't work, but credit to Lando Norris, has put in some sensational laps over the previous 7 laps, and he is now caught up to Max Verstappen, and Verstappen has got to catch up to George Russell now, but he's got Lando Norris all over his mirrors. In fact, here they go towards the Kemmel Straight, Max Verstappen versus Lando Norris, and Norris is pulling out of the slipstream. What is going on here? Lando Norris, he could have tucked into the slipstream, but he didn't. Seems like Norris was pushing very, very hard, and his tyres were overheating, so he's got to cool them down a bit. And I think it's going to be a while before we see Lando Norris make an overtake. But that being said, the Red Bulls are very, very slow down the straight. I don't say, when I say very, very slow, they're 338 kilometers an hour, which isn't very slow, but comparatively to everyone else, it is pretty slow. And Lando Norris might be able to get a very, very easy overtake on Max Verstappen, depending on if Verstappen can catch up to George Russell. We've got one of the AlphaTauris making a move on the Williams. Daniel Ricciardo gets ahead of Logan Sargent in 16th position. Unfortunately, not much going on there for the Racing Bulls. Tsunoda started the race in 20th, is up into 18th, and that's after one DNF from Guan Yu Zhou. And Daniel Ricciardo was up in 13th position. He's dropped back down to 16th. Not ideal there for Ricciardo either. Yeah, alright. I'm going to have a quick sip of water before we get another battle between Verstappen and Norris. Piastri is 2.6 seconds behind Leclerc, still nowhere near catching up, but we do have the next round of pit stops coming up very, very shortly. We're on lap number 24 of 22. The next pit stop window opens up at lap number 30. That is when the next pit stop window opens, and we will probably be seeing a couple of undercut attempts very, very soon. Okay, Sergio Perez fastest lap of the race there. Alex Albon comes into the pit lane for his second stop, and up at the front, Lando Norris a little bit too far back to catch up to Max Verstappen. The gap's down to 0.5 of a second by the end of the straight, but yeah, too far back to get anything done. Okay, oh, in fact, Lando Norris locked up quite significantly as he went into the bus stop chicane here. It seems like he might have just been focusing on Max Verstappen, who was ahead of him, and messed up his own braking. And Verstappen, and another twitch there for Lando Norris. The car not looking as stable as it previously was. So, yeah, interesting for Lando Norris, but he should be able to get an overtake done. We'll have to wait and see. Raj, thank you for the 100 rupee donation. Very much is appreciated. And yeah, thank you for helping out the channel. It's your first donation. We've got 25,000 people live. That is simply lovely, folks. And if you are enjoying the coverage, be sure to hit the like button. We've got another battle brewing. Yuki Tsunoda versus Logan Sargent. Sargent goes defensive into turn number 7. Great defense there, putting his car at the right place at the right time. And Yuki Tsunoda comes to battle him again, but once again, at this part of the circuit, in the middle sector, overtaking is so tricky. All right, Lando Norris 0.7 behind Max Verstappen, 1 second behind Max Verstappen. He might even lose DRS as they go towards La Source now. What can Lando Norris do? No, he's just got DRS. He's just within that gap. Yeah, we'll wait and see. The drivers lose around about 18 seconds in the pit stop. So, you know, if Hamilton does a pit stop and he comes out on the circuit, he'll be behind Sainz, and it looks like Sainz might be doing a one-stop strategy. His lap times aren't all that quick compared to everyone else, considering he's on medium tyres, everyone else is on hards. So I think we have got Carlos Sainz conserving his tyres. Wait, let's have a look at the lap times. No, actually, Sainz is half a second quicker than everyone else, and he's on the medium, so I guess that makes sense. Maybe Sainz is doing a two-stop. I'm not particularly sure. It seems like they were doing a one-stop strategy. Oh, wow, we're already up to 5,000 likes. Okay, well, the most likes we've ever had on a live stream is 5,700, so I shall set that as the target. If we can beat that, then that would be another record-breaking live stream. We had a record-breaking live stream last week. We may even have another one this week. A 3.3 second pit stop for Logan Sargent. They take him into the pits while they were battling away, just to avoid any sorts of incidents. And here comes Lando Norris through the middle sector, 1.1 seconds behind Max Verstappen. Verstappen losing time, gaining time on Norris, but Verstappen unable to catch up to George Russell here. The gap has been 2 seconds for far too many laps, and nothing has been going on. It seems like a couple of the drivers, someone's coming into the pits. They've told Charles Leclerc to come into the pits so Leclerc will not be undercut by Piastri. Leclerc, the first of the front runners, coming in for his second pit stop. All right. Yeah. Okie dokes. Let's see, what else have we got going on? No, up at the front, Charles Leclerc comes out of the pit lane in 7th position. He comes out on another set of hard tyres. Now, the question is, can he undercut Lewis Hamilton? This is the question, because the gap was only 1.8 seconds. So if he can get a really good outlap, Hamilton has a bit of a slower in-lap, then Leclerc has the potential to get the race lead here, folks. Leclerc could be the leader of the Belgian Grand Prix. We'll have to wait and see. Okie dokes. Yeah, an awful lot of action so far. But Charles Leclerc in the hot seat now. He's got his mission now is to have the quickest outlap possible. I think Hamilton will be coming into the pits. I'm not sure. Let's see. Oh no, yeah, they've said box to Lewis Hamilton, so he should be coming into the pits as well. A green middle sector from Lewis Hamilton. Let's check out what Charles Leclerc's middle sector is once he comes across the sector line. And oh wow, we've hit our like target as well. We've blown past the like target. This is, I mean, I just set a target and you guys hit it, which is incredible. So I guess 6,500 then. But this is the most likes we've ever had on a live stream. I think the most number of subscribers gained. Thank you so much, folks. It means so much to me, and I've been commentating for so long now, and it's really does mean a lot to see 25,000 of you listening to my coverage, which is simply mind-blowing, really. I was thinking about it earlier today. Like, I speak, 5 seconds later it goes over to all of the YouTube servers around the world, and then you guys are watching it. Piastri, currently the new race leader, as Hamilton comes into the pits. What is the pit stop gap between Hamilton and Leclerc? Hamilton's out on cold tyres. Leclerc's at a purple middle sector, and the gap is 3 seconds, but Hamilton's slow coming out the pit lane. Leclerc gets a good exit, and what's the gap going to be? Can Sainz block Leclerc? Ooh, we could have a spectacular idea here. Carlos Sainz, if he slows down and blocks Lewis Hamilton, Charles Leclerc could catch up, and we could have a battle for the lead of this race. If Ferrari can just, if they can tell Sainz, for the lead of this race, you've got to block Hamilton, I think Sainz will do it. Boaty Book Moteface, thank you for the donation. Really are helping out the channel. And also, I'd just like to once again shout out all of my Patreons, the Code Monster, Stefan and AJ, thank you for being my Patreons, and if you guys would like to help out, then the link is in the description. But never mind, let's get back to the coverage. We have got Carlos Sainz. Can he defend against Lewis Hamilton? Carlos Sainz is on medium tyres, Hamilton is on hards. Sainz has just got to slow him down a little bit, and we could have Charles Leclerc catch up and potentially take the race lead off Lewis Hamilton. This is going to be so exciting. We've got 18 laps remaining of this race. We're past the halfway point. A couple more drivers still yet to come into the pit lane. Piastri, Russell, Verstappen, Norris. All of these drivers going to be trying to undercut the driver ahead of them. And if you look at the previous lap times, Piastri, fastest lap of the race. Simply lovely. And look at how much he is attacking. If Piastri is going fastest lap of the race, he could even overcut Leclerc and Hamilton. So you've got to watch out for that. We've got a three-way battle for first place. Piastri is doing that indirectly through the pit stops, and of course Carlos Sainz now, it looks like he is holding up Lewis Hamilton just that a little bit, and I suspect they're going to come over to the radio to... Oh my god, they've come over to the radio to Sainz, racing Hamilton behind, 0.9 behind, racing hard. They're racing hard against Lewis Hamilton. That's what they've said. We've got 27,000 people tuned into live stream. Simply lovely. They've come over the radio to Piastri, telling him the last lap was purple. It goes without saying. Piastri has said it goes without saying, but clean air is king. And Piastri's doing a solid job here. The medium tyres can do around about 20 laps or so, 18-20 laps. So he's still got a bit of life left in them, and he is attacking like there's no tomorrow. Hamilton is getting blocked by Sainz. Sainz is going to be going slower and slower. Thank you for the donation, Annie. Your commentary is better than the FIA. That is a very big compliment, and very much is appreciated. We're getting very close to the like target. We've hit 86,000 subscribers. We started the weekend off with 83,000 subscribers. We're up to 86. I mean, maybe I'll just put that up to 87,000. Why not? But if you guys are enjoying the coverage, be sure to subscribe. We are having a very exciting race here. Here comes Carlos Sainz. What are the messages? Oh no, have they told Carlos Sainz to come into the pits? Sainz comes into the pits. Why didn't they tell Sainz to block? What have they done? What have they done? Why are Ferrari doing that? Okay. Does Sainz come into the pits? Verstappen's into the pits. Sainz is into the pits as well. So they should have told him to. They should have told him to defend. Okie dokes, citrus, yerba, mate, energy drink, make it happen. Thank you for the donation. I don't know what that exactly means, but what if Ferrari are just doing Ferrari things. You had the opportunity to block Lewis Hamilton and get Charles Leclerc to catch up, but no, you just be like, nah, we're just gonna pull Carlos Sainz into the pit lane. Why have you done that? Carlos Sainz would happily have defended against Lewis Hamilton. He would have used his overtake button until his battery went flat, but no. Now the threat, folks. Now the threat is Oscar Piastri. If we have a look at the gap, it is between Oscar Piastri and Charles Leclerc in the lead of this race. There is a 15-second gap. You lose around 18 seconds in the pit lane. So Piastri, he's going to have the fresher tyres, and he could have a pretty good shot of winning this. Not winning this race, maybe coming in second place. yeah, Ferrari just doing Ferrari things. That has really annoyed me. We had an amazing battle on our hands, and Ferrari just called Carlos Sainz in the pit lane. Like, what are you doing, Ferrari? What are you doing? All right, Lando Norris being called into the pit lane as well. Okie dokes. And the McLaren crew getting ready for Lando Norris. Oscar Piastri still in the lead of this race, lapping very, very strong. He is going quicker. He's going as quick as Hamilton, and Hamilton's out on a fresh set of tyres. Well, actually, the pace gap is 0.2 of a second, but nonetheless, Piastri's 15 laps older tyres, and he's still only 0.2 slower than Hamilton. Very, very quick from Oscar Piastri. Verstappen goes purple in the middle sector. It looks like he's going to overtake Sergio Perez. Norris comes into the pit lane as expected, but we're going to have a battle between the Red Bull crew. I don't know if they're going to swap them around, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see what Red Bull do. We'll keep an eye on the team radio on the right hand side of the screen as well. We've hit the like target as well. Wow, this is simply mind blowing, folks. We are going to have so much more amazing racing throughout the year as well, with 4 teams that are so quick. You never know what's going to happen. And as of now, we've got Piastri in the lead of this race. The net lead though goes to Lewis Hamilton. Verstappen purple in the 3rd sector as well. He's chasing down Sergio Perez. He's got the DRS. He's got the slipstream. Can he get the overtake done going into turn number 6? Don't think so. A little bit too far back for Max Verstappen, and he lives to fight another day. All right. Oh, no, they've just come over the radio. As you can see, okay, we're releasing Max into 10th. So into turn number 10, they're going to release Max. That's what the message is to Sergio Perez. Release Max into turn 10, then Norris to 2 seconds. So they are doing team orders. Pretty typical stuff at Red Bull. Yeah. All right, we love you, F1 Gamer. Well, that is very much appreciated, and also 28,000 of you watching. Very much is appreciated, folks. If you aren't subscribed, if you haven't hit the like button, really be sure to do so. I'll be commentating all of the races, all of the qualifying sessions, and alike. And once again, just a reminder, I have blocked all adverts from YouTube on my side. I've been doing my best to block them, and if you guys could help out the channel financially, there is a link in the description for the Patreon. Piastri goes a little bit deep into his pit box, pushing his mechanic back about a meter, but everything seems to be all right. The mechanic obviously was expecting it. Piastri comes out of the pit lane. Where is he going to come out? How far behind Charles Leclerc? That is the question. And also, he is going to have 4 lap fresher tyres than Charles Leclerc, which is really going to help him out. Yeah, so currently the position standing is, once George Russell comes into the pit lane, we will have Hamilton, then we will have Leclerc, then we'll have Piastri, then a charging Max Verstappen, who has got the fastest lap of the race by a huge margin, and he's also on a fresh set of medium tyres. Everyone ahead of him is on a set of hards. We have got 14 laps left to go, folks, and Max Verstappen chasing down the top 3 with fresher and softer tyres. Let's go do some racing. All right. Norris gets ahead of Perez going down the Camel Straight. A great overtake from Lando Norris. He was pushing so hard on his previous stint, and he's reaped the rewards. He's got past Sergio Perez. Perez has dropped back behind Verstappen, although he started 2 positions. He started in 2nd, Perez started, and Verstappen started in 11th. Folks, do let me know who your driver of the day is. We're reaching that point of the race. 14 laps left to go. Honestly, this race is 10 out of 10 nonetheless. It would have been 11 out of 10 if Carlos Sainz had left if Ferrari had left Carlos Sainz out to block Hamilton, but yeah. Let me know what your driver of the day is. What do you think this race is rated out of 10? Norris is purple in the 1st sector, Piastri purple in the 2nd sector, Max Verstappen another fastest lap of the race. All right, is George Russell coming into the pit lane? Driver of the day, Charles or Lewis, no doubt. Yeah, Charles has done a pretty good job, considering he's lost 1 position, but nonetheless has been staying with Lewis Hamilton for a very long time now, and good job there from him. Norris is a man on a mission. The Red Bull is slow down the straights, and Norris is capitalizing. We thought that Max Verstappen is the driver that would be charging up the field, but no, it's Lando Norris. He is catching up to, he's already overtook Perez on the previous lap. He's built a 2-second gap, and now he's looking to catch up Max Verstappen. This is simply mind-blowing. wow, we're getting up to 29,000 people watching this live stream. Thank you so much, everyone that is tuning in. I commentate all the Formula One races, all of the qualifyings. Yeah, just like and subscribe and enjoy this racing, because it will not last forever. But I have a feeling it's going to go all the way down to the line for this championship. We've got 10 races after this one, and 3 sprint races as well. We are in for a very exciting Formula One season. We're on lap number 32 of 44. Lando Norris could not overtake Max Verstappen on this occasion, but he does take fastest lap of the race away from him, and he was 4/10 quicker in the first sector alone. So let's see what Lando Norris can do versus Max Verstappen. They do, of course, have a little bit of a history in Austria. They did managed to clean that up in Silverstone, and they had some pretty fair, hard racing in Silverstone, the race after Austria. All right, they come over the radio to saying, I think Lando behind is pushing me, so let me know what you want me to do. And essentially what they're saying, Verstappen came over the radio saying, I think Lando behind is pushing me, let me know what you want me to do. And I think they just said, we're happy with you keeping up this pace and catching up to Piastri ahead. All right. You missed Lando's fast lap. He shaved nearly a full second off Max's, which is, that's incredible. I think obviously Norris had the assistance of Sergio Perez's giving him slipstream and DRS down the main straight, but nonetheless, 1 second quicker fastest lap is nothing to be shy about. Norris, 9/10 is the gap as he comes across the start-finish line, and the most important thing that he can do now is get a slingshot. If he can get a very nice slingshot coming off the straight, then that is going to be enormous for him and really help him out to get a move done. So here he comes. The gap is 1 second. He's a little bit too far back. Is he even going to have DRS? No, he is not. Lando Norris drops out of DRS range from Max Verstappen. Verstappen realised that Norris was pushing him, set a personal best lap time, picked up the pace, and Norris is going to have a hard time keeping up here because the medium tyres in the middle sector are so much better. They are around a half a second better just in the middle sector alone. So Norris has to overcome the fact that Verstappen will be on fresher, quicker tyres than him, and that's going to be a little bit difficult considering that both cars are on pretty similar level pace. Yeah, wow, we're on 29,000 views, which is the highest we've ever had on a live stream as well. This season just keeps on giving, and folks, I hope you are enjoying. I will be commentating the next race as well. George Russell, I don't know what he is doing. There are 12 laps remaining of this race, and he may be even going for a one-stop strategy. I have no idea of knowing, but the gap is only 6 seconds, so he can lose half a second every single lap to Lewis Hamilton and still be in the lead of this race. And that is exactly what happened on the previous lap. Russell was half a second slower than Hamilton. Hamilton comes across the start-finish line. Let's have a look at the lap times. This time, Hamilton is nearly 0.7 of a second slower. So Hamilton is gaining on Russell, but Russell may be doing a one-stop. We may even have a Mercedes 1-2 after a McLaren 1-2. We may have a Mercedes 1-2. This is not something that I thought I would be saying, but Mercedes did bring upgrades this weekend. Upgrades to the suspension, upgrades to the rear wing, upgrades to the front wing, and I don't know how things are going, but they seem to be going pretty spectacularly down at the Mercedes garage, and they are going to be super pleased with themselves. I'm going to have a listen to the radio and see what they're saying in terms of strategy for George Russell, but it is looking very, very good for him. We're up to 7,000 likes, so I guess knock that up to 8,000. We're getting pretty close to 87,000 subscribers as well, folks. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, be sure to do so. We've got, how many people have we got watching? 29,500 people. That is simply spectacular, folks. Spectacular. And very much do appreciate all of you watching. Hope you are enjoying. The new tyre whisperer, indeed. George Russell, the new tyre whisperer, that could be something that we see, and given there's only 11 laps remaining of this race, he really could go all the way out to the end. George Russell is staying out by the looks of it. The hard tyres, Pirelli said you can do maximum 25 laps on them. George Russell has already done 23 on them, but you know, given the fact that he's in the lead of this race, if he comes out of the pits now, where does he go? He goes all the way down to 6th position. So he might as well just risk it for the chocolate biscuit and potentially get the race win here. We don't know if they'll swap positions or not. The gap between Russell and Hamilton, 5.1 seconds. And I suspect by the end of this race, Hamilton will probably breeze past George Russell, but to George Russell's credit, he's doing a fantastic job of maintaining this gap, and he could go on to win this race. Yeah, it's just mind-blowing, really. I don't know where Mercedes have come from. I wasn't even paying attention to them, really. I thought, oh, Hamilton's doing a good job. George Russell, he's kind of just at the back of the pack, not making much progress. But here he is doing some spectacular driving, and he's managing those tyres like no one has managed tyres before. Oscar Piastri looking to overtake Charles Leclerc into Lecon. There you go, side by side. Charles Leclerc, Piastri on the outside, Leclerc on the inside, and Leclerc manages to defend for one lap. But that defense is not over yet. There's going to be another 10 laps remaining and another 10 attempts for Oscar Piastri to get by. We have an amazing battle on our hands for third place as well. Hamilton's chasing down Russell for the lead of this race. We've got Piastri chasing down Leclerc for third place, and Verstappen is nowhere to be seen. He cannot even gain on Oscar Piastri. The gap previously was 2 seconds. Now it's down to 3.7. They've come over the radio to Max Verstappen saying 10 laps to go, 10 of your finest laps, please. So Verstappen's going to have to push. He's under pressure from Norris, but the Mercedes have somehow jumped both of the McLarens and the Red Bulls, and they seem to be the quickest team now. I don't know what is going on here, but some spectacular racing for sure. And this is just a sign of things to come for the remainder of the season. 4.4 seconds is a gap. We're on lap number 35 of 44. 10 laps remain. The striking distance is around about 5 laps time according to AWS, so Hamilton probably should close that gap to George Russell soon enough, but looking at those lap times, yeah, Russell is around about a second or so slower, 8/10 slower than Hamilton on each lap, and that's not going to be enough, but it will be enough to potentially hold on to second place compared to Charles Leclerc. Piastri, though, his focus right now is to overtake Charles Leclerc. Let's wait and see what he can do. 5/10 is the gap. If Piastri could overtake Leclerc, I think there's a solid chance Piastri could try and catch up to Lewis Hamilton. So he opens the DRS, he tucks right into that slipstream as they go down the Kemmel Straight for the 36th time, and Leclerc goes defensive. He goes to the inside line. Oscar Piastri darts to the outside. Are we going to have a move? Piastri swoops round the outside. Leclerc fights it back though, and Piastri just has just enough grip to squeeze ahead of Leclerc. A great move there from Oscar Piastri, and now he's got 9 laps ahead of him to catch up to Lewis Hamilton. If the Mercedes duo are to battle, are to squabble, then Oscar Piastri is going to be the man there to capitalise on any of those mistakes. So great overtake from Oscar Piastri coming off his win in Hungary, and that was, marred a little bit by the fact that Lando Norris wasn't swapping positions with him. But here comes Oscar Piastri showing what he's made of, overtaking Charles Leclerc and going up into third position. Fantastic job, fantastic racing. Yeah, simply spectacular. And we've got 30,000 people live, which is brilliant. We're getting to close to 8,000 likes. We are getting pretty close to 87,000 subscribers. This is going fantastically, folks. But up at the lead of the race, the gap 3.8 seconds, and Piastri now, the question is, how much quicker can Piastri's lap times be now that he's got clean air? He said it over the radio before, clean air is king. When he set fastest lap of the race on 18-lap-old hard tyres, Piastri, on his previous stint, 18-lap-old hard tyres still set fastest lap of the race. So we'll wait and see what he can do now when he's got 6-lap-old tyres, and his tyres are, in fact, four laps younger than Hamilton's tyres are. So it's game on for Oscar Piastri. Lando Norris, his teammate behind him, he's looking to overtake Max Verstappen as they go down the Kemmel Straight now. What will happen? Will Lando Norris get ahead of Max Verstappen? Let's wait and see. They blast down the Kemmel Straight, and Lando Norris a little bit too far back on this occasion to get anything done. But George Russell in the lead of this race, 3.5 seconds is the gap, and he is consistently losing 8/10 of a second to Lewis Hamilton on every single lap. But the question is, with 8 laps left to go, will he be able to defend against Hamilton? Will there be team orders? I don't know what will happen. And if they are going to battle, then is Piastri going to catch up? Because Piastri is a man on a mission. His previous lap was a little bit slower because he had to overtake Leclerc. But let's wait and see what his new lap time is going to be. yeah, Lando's looking to overtake Verstappen. Verstappen is catching up to Charles Leclerc now. Leclerc already 2 seconds behind Piastri because the Ferrari doesn't have that much pace. And yeah, Verstappen looks like he's going to catch up to Leclerc before Norris actually makes a move on him. So that's good news for Verstappen. He's going to have someone with DRS ahead of him to sort of help him along the straights and not get blown past by the McLaren. Okay, gap down to 2.8 seconds at the front. Russell versus Hamilton. And the lap times are, yeah, once again, Russell 9 tenths of a second slower than Lewis Hamilton. Tyre management is becoming harder and harder as every lap goes by. 7 laps remain of this race. Oscar Piastri on his previous lap. How much quicker was he than Lewis Hamilton? He was 8 tenths of, oh sorry, no, apologies, I was looking at the wrong column. He was 1 tenth of a second slower than Hamilton. Looks like Piastri has not got the pace to catch up to Hamilton just yet. But if they are squabbling, if Russell and Hamilton do get into any sort of battle, then Piastri will be right there. In fact, yeah, they've just come over the radio to Piastri. Okay, last lap, you matched Hamilton. You're 8 tenths quicker than Russell. Keep managing the rear slip. You can push the tyre, but manage the rear slip. So the rear tyres are a bit of a pain point for Oscar Piastri. We saw in practice he was sliding around. The oversteer was a bit of an issue. But, yeah, we'll see what Oscar Piastri can do. All right, 31,000 people tuned into the live stream, folks. If you are enjoying, hopefully you can hit the like button. We can get to 8,000 likes. And if you are a fan of Formula One and would like to hear some more commentary coverage, then would be sure to subscribe as well. All right. We've got a replay here of Esteban Ocon. Esteban Ocon looking to overtake Lance Stroll here. Goes past him on the Kemmel straight, going into the braking zone. He gets ahead of Lance Stroll. Nice job there from Esteban Ocon, the driver, of course, who signed his contract to go to Haas next year, and he will be leaving the Alpine team. Of course, his seat has not been confirmed. We don't know, whoever's going to replace him has not been confirmed. We've hit the like target, 8,000. This is spectacular. I mean, 9,000, why not? Yeah, we're getting very close to 87,000 as well. Okie dokes. But here we go at the front. The gap now 2 seconds, and on the previous lap, it was a full second's pace gap. 9 tenths of a second pace gap between Russell and Hamilton. That gap is, in fact, in 2 laps' time, Hamilton will be on the tail of George Russell. Yeah. All right, we've got Carlos Sainz looking to attack Sergio Perez for 7th position. We've got Lando Norris still on the tail of Verstappen. He's going to have DRS on this occasion. I don't think he'll be close enough as he goes towards the Lecombe chicane because Verstappen, he has slipstream of Charles Leclerc ahead of him, and that is his saving grace. He's picked up the pace enough to catch up to Leclerc, and that should help him out in defending against Lando Norris. Carlos Sainz swoops around the outside of Sergio Perez. A great overtake there. Simply lovely from Carlos Sainz. And he's done a fantastic job managing that Ferrari. Of course, he started down in 7th position, and he stayed there after so much action going on in this race. Leclerc losing 3 places. Carlos Sainz has still managed to hold position. Okay, Carlo, and Sainz is 10 seconds behind Lando Norris. No sort of chance of him getting an overtake done there, but yeah. All right, George Russell, 1.3 seconds is the gap. I really want George Russell to defend hard here. I'm going to keep an eye out on the radio to see if there's any messages to George Russell saying, you've got to be fair, you've got to be... I just want him to defend so hard that Piastri catches up, because that would be brilliant. They said 5 laps remaining to George Russell, but no sort of information about the battle. Oh yeah, folks, who do you think is driver of the day? We've had so much action. And honestly, George Russell, I'm going to say, is my driver of the day. He's done a fantastic job managing those hard tyres and potentially could actually win this race. We're still yet to see. 5 laps remain of this race. Hamilton is significantly quicker. Maybe they'll race, maybe they'll say no battling, we don't know. We've hit 87,000 subscribers, that is spectacular. I guess we knocked that up another 500. But thank you everyone for hitting the subscribe button, it means a lot. Alright. Let's wait and see what happens between George Russell and Lewis Hamilton. But up at, a little bit further behind them, Charles Leclerc under pressure from Max Verstappen here. Verstappen, the Red Bull, not so quick in a straight line. Sergio Perez complained about it. Red Bull
seemed like they went for a bit more of a wet setup yesterday. That explains Max Verstappen's dominance in quali. But here they go now towards the middle sector, and Max Verstappen is gaining. He's on the medium tyres. He has the quicker tyres compared to Leclerc. The medium tyres are around 0.4 of a second quicker in the middle sector. It's an enormous pace gap that the medium tyres give you, and we'll keep an eye out on what Max Verstappen can do. Oh, wow. All right, they've said gap at 0.9. Make sure you give each other plenty of space. That is the information to Lewis Hamilton. We'll see what the information to George Russell is, but yeah, let's wait and see. It's a Mercedes 1-2 currently on lap number 40 of 44, and wow, what a race it has been. Okie dokes, gap at 0.7. Hamilton has got the DRS as they exit La Source. George Russell is now only a couple of car lengths ahead of Lewis Hamilton as they head through Eau Rouge for the 41st time. The drivers now within sight of each other. Russell will be looking in his mirrors. Hamilton will have the DRS, he'll have the slipstream, but he'll be too far back on this occasion. George Russell is slow through the corners, not slow down the straight, and Hamilton has closed that gap up to half a second already. Charles Leclerc under pressure from Max Verstappen. Verstappen opens the DRS flap. Leclerc's got no one ahead of him to slipstream, and going into turn number 5, what can Max Verstappen do? Nothing. He is so close, but just that little bit too far. So close yet so far for Max Verstappen, and those medium tyres are helping him out, staying with Charles Leclerc. But as the race goes on, in these last 4 laps, Lando Norris is going to be a much bigger threat because those hard tyres don't wear out as much, and that's going to help him out. Okie dokes, gap is half a second between George Russell and Lewis Hamilton. The pace difference in terms of raw pace, Hamilton is around about 1 full second quicker per lap, but we don't know. We don't know what will happen because Russell could put up an amazing defensive drive, and really, if Russell goes to the inside line, Hamilton is going to have a very tough time overtaking round the outside. So let's wait and see. We've got 33,000 people tuned into the live stream. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you guys haven't hit the like button or subscribed, be sure to do so. We broke all of the records today for the channel, and it is brilliant. And once again, I'd just like to mention, no adverts from me. I'm blocking all of the adverts from YouTube's side, and if you guys could support me on Patreon, that would mean the world. But here we are, lap number 42 of 44. We have 3 laps remaining of this race and a battle for the lead. Lewis Hamilton, is he going to breeze past George Russell, or is it going to be a tough overtake? Is Russell going to fight it all the way to the end? He's only got 3 laps to fight. Honestly, Russell could do it. 3 laps of defending against Lewis Hamilton in equal machinery. If Nico Rosberg can do it, I'm sure George Russell has a shot. Here they go. He's looking in his mirrors. Hamilton's gaining. He looks to the inside, but no overtake there. George Russell just stays ahead by the finest of margins. Oh my god. Piastri's catching up, folks. Piastri is catching up because Russell is not going any quicker through the corners. Piastri's middle sector is still as quick as it normally is because he's got clean air. Hamilton is not. Piastri's catching up, and this is a 3-way battle for first place. Oh my god, it's been a very long time since we've had racing as good as this, and we've got a lot more good racing coming up for the second half of the season, folks. George Russell 0.4 ahead of Lewis Hamilton. Piastri is closing up at a rate of knots. 2.5 seconds is the gap as of now. We have 3 laps remaining, to be exact 2.5 laps remaining, but some spectacular racing up at the front. Charles Leclerc, Max Verstappen, Lando Norris all within 1.5 seconds of each other, but still they've been stuck in that same formation in 4th, 5th and 6th position. Max Verstappen is going to be losing a lot of points in the Constructors' Championship compared to the Red Bull are going to be losing a lot of Constructors Championship points compared to McLaren, but Mercedes are going to be scoring the most. They're going to be coming home with 43 points by the looks of it if nothing goes wrong between the 2 drivers. The gap is once again half a second as they go towards La Source. Hamilton this time, he has the slipstream. He's going to get closer as they go into La Source. This is the closest Hamilton has ever been. Both drivers go wide of the apex. They both get a good exit, but Hamilton once again is 0.7 of a second behind, and this was further back than he was on the previous occasion. Looks like he is trying to get the perfect slingshot shot to get ahead of his teammate, but he's got to be careful and he's got to be quick because Oscar Piastri is catching up. The gap was 2.5 seconds half a lap ago. It's down to 1.5 seconds. Piastri gains a full second in half a lap. We've got 2 laps remaining. George Russell in the lead of this race. Oh my God, could this race get any more exciting right at the end here? 43 laps of 44 completed. We're on the penultimate lap of this race. George Russell has fended off Lewis Hamilton for that one final time. Sergio Perez comes into the pits to get the fastest lap of the race. So, fastest lap of the race for Sergio Perez by the looks of it, because there's no one behind him. He's got enough of a pit stop gap. But up there at the front, all eyes peeled, and Piastri is catching up. We have a 3-way battle for the lead of this race. Here we go. 7 kilometers of the Spa-Francorchamps circuit, and these Mercedes drivers are making it go all the way, and they come through Stavelot now, and George Russell is half a second ahead of Lewis Hamilton. There's no DRS on this part of the circuit, but Hamilton will be gaining via the slipstream, and George Russell just hasn't got to lock it up into the bus stop chicane. If he doesn't lock up into the bus stop chicane, into La Source and into La Combe, he should be able to bring this home. And this is it. The remaining 7 kilometers of this Spa-Francorchamps circuit, the remaining 7 kilometers of this race, they told Lewis Hamilton to go into strap mode 5. That is the full send, full attack mode. They've told Piastri it is the last lap of the race. Piastri's within DRS of Lewis Hamilton as well. Here they go. This is it. This is Formula One. They come out of La Source. George Russell has a half a second advantage. This was the exact same gap that it was last lap, and Hamilton couldn't get the overtake done. George Russell goes through Eau Rouge, goes through Radion, and he has got a healthy 6/10 gap. Piastri is right on Hamilton's tails. Hamilton's got to look ahead of him. He's got to look behind him, but he is too far back as they go into Les Combes, and George Russell maintains the lead. What a turn of events. George Russell could win this race if he hangs on for the final part of this lap. He's done 33 laps on those hard tyres. Pirelli said you could only do 25, so his tyres have got to hang on, and he's not going to make a mistake in the bus stop chicane. But George Russell could go on to win this race. We've got 35,000 people tuned into live stream. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. I'll be commentating the Zandvoort Grand Prix. But this has been a spectacular race with so many different events turning off. And George Russell, oh my God, Hamilton could make the overtake into the bus stop chicane. Here they go through Stavelot. Hamilton is as close as he has ever been. Half a second is the gap. And Hamilton's got the overtake button on, and he's deploying at maximum load. Here they go towards the bus stop chicane. George Russell versus Lewis Hamilton. And they're going into the bus stop chicane through Blanchimont. Hamilton's gaining. He's gaining. But Russell as defending it. Hamilton has thrown everything at George Russell, all of the pace that he had, but George Russell has done a fantastic job. He pulls off the one-stop strategy. He comes across the line to win the race and to take his first win at Spa. Hamilton in second place, Piastri in third, and they're within half a second of each other. This has been fantastic racing here at Spa. Charles Leclerc comes across the line in fourth place. Verstappen gains 6 positions from starting in 11th to come across in 5th, and Lando Norris in 6th place. What a turn of events. Sergio Perez comes across the line. Sainz comes across the line in 7th. Perez will come across the line for fastest lap of the race. But what a race this has been. George Russell is over the moon on the radio. He is our race winner today, folks. And what a race. Wow. Wow. I'm totally lost for words. I don't know what to say, but we have got so much more of this at Zandvoort, so much more of this at Monza. George Russell is taking his seatbelt off and he's waving, he's punching the air. He is so happy, and he's already into the pit lane, and the podium celebrations will start so soon. We've got 37,000 people tuned into live stream today, folks. Simply mind-blowing. Thank you everyone for tuning in. If you haven't hit the like button, be sure to do so. If you haven't subscribed, I'll be commentating the Zandvoort Grand Prix in 3 weeks time. And also, one other thing, actually, no. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. Depending on where you are in the world, have a wonderful morning, day, afternoon, evening, or night. This stream is going to end very, very shortly. But what a spectacular race this has been. I'm going to end today's stream. It will take you over to the stream for the Dutch Grand Prix. Go ahead, press the reminder button. And if you could press the like button on the Zandvoort stream, that would really help out the channel. It I don't know how the YouTube algorithm works, but one thing I know, hitting the like button before the stream starts is amazing, really, for the YouTube algorithm. This race has been fantastic. It has been the definition of Formula One, to be frankly honest with you guys. Just so much racing, so much action, all the way down to the final lap, and an amazing race. And I've got to say, we have got so much more in store for us at Zandvoort. I'm going to end today's stream now, folks. And yeah, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And just the one final thing that I can ask for you, if you could hit the like button and the reminder button for the Zandvoort Grand Prix, the Dutch Grand Prix, then that would mean the world to me. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's been an absolute pleasure commentating to you guys, seeing all your messages in the chat. This race has been fantastic. And I will see you in 3 weeks' time for the Dutch Grand Prix, and I really do hope you have enjoyed my commentary. And yeah, just the final thing: hit the like button for the next stream, and that's it. Wow. I will see you in 3 weeks' time, folks. I will see you later. Cheers, fellas. Thank you so much.